for your kind attention, and I invite you to call Dr. Hart to the bar.
I thank Ms. Sander. I now give the floor to Ms. Naomi Hart. You have the floor, madam.
Mr. President, members of the court, against the backdrop of Palestinians' extraordinary human suffering cast in vivid relief this past week, the court's function is to provide advice to the General Assembly on the two legal questions posed to it. It is my honour, on behalf of the Maldives and as the final speaker in these proceedings, to provide succinct, direct responses to those two questions. Question A asks the court to opine on the legal consequences of Israel's ongoing violation of the Palestinian people's right to self-determination, its prolonged occupation, settlement and annexation of the occupied Palestinian territory, and its discriminatory legislation and measures. The states appearing before you have been largely consistent on this question, and that is unsurprising because the relevant principles are well established in the customary international law rules on state responsibility and the court's jurisprudence. First, Israel is obliged to cease its continuing unlawful acts. This includes, of course, an obligation to terminate its occupation, just as South Africa was obliged to withdraw from Namibia, where its presence was illegal. The court there specifically stated that withdrawal must occur immediately. Here, the General Assembly has recently stressed the urgency of achieving without delay an end to the Israeli occupation. But that is not all. Israel must also cease the discrete unlawful practices which have characterised its occupation. For example, it must dismantle the discriminatory regime concerning water resources referred to in Ms. Sanders' speech. In precisely the same way as the court previously stated that Israel must dismantle both the wall and the associated legislative and regulatory regime which entrenched discrimination. Secondly, at the same time as terminating its unlawful acts, Israel must provide assurances that it will not repeat them. Thirdly, Israel is obliged to provide comprehensive reparations. Restitution is optimal as far as possible, but you heard from Palestine last Monday that no action by Israel now could ever restore the Palestinian people to the situation which would have existed without its violations. In that case, Israel's reparations must include compensation. And to the extent that compensation will not fully make good the harms caused, Israel must provide just satisfaction in other forms, such as acknowledging its breaches and providing formal apologies. Fourth, there are obligations on third states. States parties to the Fourth Geneva Convention must search for individuals accused of committing or ordering grave breaches of that instrument and including the rules of occupation, and prosecute or extradite them.